on and run. Yeah, there you go. Right? It's either turned on, it'll be highlighted or, you know, stylized in some way. Pyramids. The number 5. So many groups use the 5 and the symbol of the sun. It's a big thing even in the techie world because these telecom silicon types imagine that they're doing some occult work. The connection between the occult and the Silicon Valley is something I go into a lot in other talks. Look at the magical symbols. Opening doors into the intelligence, the technological world. The portal of the door is very important in Freemasonry. They talk about the porch. One thing that I find really pernicious in advertising is just simply the degradation factor, the demeaning factor that the animals, how animals are used, and how children are being portrayed. Not as children, of course. And how women are being portrayed. Here you have a symbol where the word coke, somebody was asking about the coke, it's an Egyptian word, and it relates to the male genitalia. Let's be polite about it. The ancient word for the male genitalia in the Egyptian was coke, or K-U-K, which is used as slang today, isn't it, for the male member? Right? It's an old Egyptian word. Look at the positioning of the model, where she's holding it. Because they, you know, want to feminize things for men, but they want to phallicize things for women. She's got a missing head anyway, so she's got some problems. So let's replace it, you know, with this surrogate phallus. That's why it's called the real thing. Here's another woman with some problems. She's got some head problems here. This word is interesting. The company's name is, CTEX. Cetus is the Latin word for the vagina. CTS. Often just in very innocuous shots like this, you'll find something weird about the posture, the limpness, the submissive, the simulating, flaccid look of the female is used a lot, which in itself is pernicious. The fact that there's something skewed about the imagery. Or they'll use the vamp. You know, a lot of this we know already, I'm just going over it. The idea of the tramp, the vamp. This is Salem. And the incredible vampiristic look of this is outrageous, and also the fact that it's, there's dismemberment involved. And then we wonder why there's serial killers running the streets who are only too happy to tell you in court, I hear voices, I'm possessed, I can't help it, something's talking to me. Yeah, they've been telling you, why don't you listen? Who are the guilty ones? Question of gender has been exploited greatly. Wonderful sacred imagery of androgyny, which is the ultimate goal of all spirituality and all magic and all divination and all alchemy, is what we call androgyny. Not at a genital level, but at a spiritual level. The unification of the male and the female inside of you. That was the object of religion, that was the object of occultism originally. They don't want that. They want gender dysphoria now. They want to harden the masculine and weaken the feminine. So they play on these ancient mystical things. That's their job. They're not there to sell you products because they were millionaires in the first centuries of our period. In the early parts of this millennia, these people were already owning the world. That's only an ostensible concern to them. And that's where they get the money from, and that's why they advertise so heavily. They're into the cult of imagery, the cult of symbolism, to make sure that you are disassociated from your source and that your children are delinquent on the streets of the world. And that nature is subjugated. The androgyne, shown in symbols like this, or let's take a physical example where you've seen the guy shaving, the shaving ones where he's looking in the mirror. Very interesting how they use specular dynamics. You're looking through a mirror at a man who's shaving. Then the model, the female, comes up and looks in the mirror towards you together in an image like this. You're looking at your TV screen, that's a filter. No, you're looking through your eye, is your first filter. Right? That's a lens. Then you look through the TV screen. Then there's the camera that's taking the photograph of the models. Then there's the mirror in the actual scene. All these, what they call mirrors, specular dynamics, representing the filters of your own consciousness. All of this goes into making a single advertisement. And so the two bodies wrapped in one, you know, or the strange mudras, the arms, the position of the arms, and the male and the female focusing in your mind. That can be done very beautifully. That can be done in great art, like in Jean Cocteau, or the end of Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula movie, where the two people arise into the dome, you know, at the end as one being. That's a very spiritual rendition of that concept. But it can also be done to drag you down, or to sell you some product based on a very high spiritual motif that attracts your soul, but it's toothpaste or something. So what? I love the art. I think the graphics are wonderful, and I think that the people who do it are extremely skilled. They are the Michelangelos and they are the Leonardos of today, but they're not using their talents for the uplift of mankind. Unfortunately, they're taking it down. When you see the female model, the female, the goddess, the priestess, the empress, in the center of balloons or anything like this, balloons relate to the semen, right? Balloons relate to the semen. So she is the ovum, the cauldron of all life, and the balloon motif, that's even why you set off fireworks at Christmas and fireworks at the New Year. They represent the fire of the male, you see, entering into the dome of the night sky. There's all of these ancient motifs. So the little balloons with the thread on them, right, in miniature are representing the male seed around the female. There's a sexual motif. Your unconscious mind perceives it as that. Ancient motifs from the Bible, from religion, right, which are gender orientated. They'll sell you some damn apples or something. Eve and the apple, temptation. Oh yes, and the wonderful advertisements that proliferate about what men want. Okay, Chanel for men. Here is the vesica, the opening of the female, and the C, the two C's of Chanel is 33. Right, the third letter of the alphabet, 33. There's a lot of symbolism in here. And the female opening. And A-N, by the way, right in the middle there, is the ancient word for the heavens, for the goddess of the heavens, An. Look at the positioning. Look at the positioning. That is very attractive to your unconscious mind, even her hands position. You'll find actors like Marlon Brando and James Dean used to use a lot of these kinds of symbolisms for positive usage, but just the symbol of the womb, anything connected to going back to the womb has a lot of currency in advertising. Yes, perfectly, good example. Fila, let's look at this one and another twist on it. They use a lot of words putting backwards. If the word fila doesn't mean anything in English, that should get your hackles up. As soon as you see something that doesn't mean something in English, please understand that it does mean something in one of the ancient languages of the ancient world. Latin, Greek, Hebrew, you know, which didn't use vowels, or one of the magical languages. If you spell the word backwards, you get aleph. Anybody into Hebrew here? They'll recognize that word. Aleph means the life, the breath of life. Your breath was called aleph. It's the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And it means breath, or it means life, to be alive. Now, you tell me what would happen. What does it mean if I take the word for life in Hebrew and turn it backwards? What am I suggesting? Precisely. So when you see our teens walking around looking like death warmed up with Fila t-shirts on and not feeling too good, maybe there's a reason. So you can wear the corporate logos, you can dress from head to toe and look dead chic. I don't mind, but at least know what you're wearing. That's all I'm advocating. Know what the symbols mean. Ultimately, you shouldn't wear them, but, you know, let's do it in stages, right? The yoni. The yoni. The ovum. The female symbols that are used constantly. Here's a company that even uses the term. The ovum. Because they're selling you something more than what you think you're getting. The sacred and the profane. This is another area where, again, spiritual, religious motifs are being used in different kinds of context, taken out of context and put into a materialistic context. The E, you see how the E is set aside there? Pretty self-evident. Yes. Don't think we need to continue, you know, analyzing some of them. That word is naive. It's the anagram of the word naive, because they want to associate water with purity and innocence.